Hey everybody, this is Dalton from the Steam Machine Podcast, and you are listening to Russel Fest on Dane and Jeff's Media Dump. All month long, the boys are talking all about the greatest and the best of the Russell Crowe filmography, starting with... what? Again? Oh, God damn it, you always listen to...
Dude, I got a hot take for you.
Hell yes. Give it to me.
So, YouTube Christmas just hit for all the movie people when Snow White came out.
Oh, all right.
Because everybody has been waiting to hate this movie. And I've got my hot take ready. So, pretty much when Disney did this reimagining, they transformed the story of Snow White into a girl boss story.
Mm-hmm.
So that is kind of the overarching theme, is women's empowerment, girl boss. But they picked a movie, or a story rather, to interpret this, where the core narrative is the king dies and now a woman's in charge and everything goes to shit, to create a women's empowerment girl boss movie. And I think they missed the forest for the trees.
One thing I really, I just, well, that's a very good point. But it's just like one thing that I'm just like, okay, Snow White is supposed to, or the evil queen is supposed to be jealous of Snow White's beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you're telling me that Gal Gadot is jealous of this Rachel Zegler. I mean, and Gal Gadot is one of the prettiest women on this planet.
And they actually went out of their way, I think, because I forget the chick's name, but the woman playing Snow White, she's an attractive woman. And when you look at her in this movie, it's like they went out of her way to make her unattractive. It's like the least flattering way that they could light her and do the makeup and everything.
Well, because it's modern Disney, it's just like, oh, everything has to be dark and edgy. It's just like, you do realize that you could still tell a great story, and it could be bright and colorful, aka the original Disney animated movies.
And here's the other takeaway, all right? Here's an even hotter take that I just thought of. So, woman takes over, everything goes to shit. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest? Snow White. Snow White, girl boss, defeats the evil queen, and now everything's happy again. Well, the problem was, everything would have been fine if you'd just been a little prettier.
But it's Gal Gadot. That's the biggest disconnect. It's just like, it's like Gal Gadot, again, one of the prettiest women, and someone that'll definitely kick my ass because I think she's ex-Israeli Special Forces.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, from everything I've heard, apparently the two of them did not get along in real life, where Gal Gadot is Israeli and the chick that played Snow White was super pro-Palestine and all this shit here recently. She did such a clusterfuck during the early interviews regarding the movie. Yeah, all the early promotions
for the video.
That everything was fucking locked down tight. Like, they didn't have a red carpet thing. Very limited press interactions, very scripted responses from everybody. Like, she stuck her foot in her mouth so many times over the last 2 years. Disney lost all confidence in her and said, stick to the script or you're fucked. I'm pretty sure.
Well, this is why modern Disney just needs to get fucked, because crap like this. It's just like, I don't give a damn about the MCU. I certainly don't give a damn about Star Wars. You're ruining all these great stories by all of a sudden it's just like everything needs to be women empowerment. Which that can be okay, but if you're doing it in a dumb way, which actually hurts the character, like prime example, the 2015 Cinderella movie. They made Cinderella be more book smart and intelligent, which that's perfectly fine. I'm happy with that. But at the end, when she's locked in the tower waiting for the prince, what would a normal person do? Like call for help. Create some sort of distress to grab attention. Try to save the day. No, she thought of the better times and just danced around her room. Are you fucking kidding me?
So look, so much of modern Disney shit where they're trying to push women to the forefront. And white straight dude talking about women's issues here.
Two white straight dudes.
Two straight middle-aged white dudes podcast bros.
Middle-aged? Shit, man, we're only going to last until mid-70s.
Do you really think you're going to make it past 80?
Well, my family has some longevity. My grandma died at the age of 99.
Sounds nice. I don't have that in my gene pool. But so much of how Disney is making strong female characters is they are making them strong by making the men look stupid and incompetent.
Yeah.
So compare and contrast that. So the original Star Wars trilogy.
Uh-huh.
Luke and Han show up to save Leia on the Death Star.
Correct.
What's her how does she react when they walk in?
She
has a
them.
very it's about fucking time you got here is the kind of error, and then she immediately takes charge and leads the escape, gets to the rebels, leads the fucking rebellion.
Yeah.
Strong female character. And people give the old Star Wars movies shit for not having very many female characters or, non-whites. You're missing the greater picture. Leia was a very strong female character.
And also, you're talking about like non-white characters. Arguably, who's more famous than Luke and Han? Lando.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Billy D. Williams just oozes charisma the moment you see him.
And yet, like, a bunch of the alien characters in the films portrayed by white men. They're aliens. What the fuck does it matter? You have a completely universal diversity.
Also, it takes place in a galaxy far, far away in a time long, long ago. That's George Lucas's escape of, fuck it.
I'm not going to get into the greater political thing. I'm just saying that the approach of let's write female characters who are female, but everything else is just the way male characters have been portrayed. You're missing opportunities to tell better stories.
Correct.
Because you can write a strong female character who is strong because she's female, not strong in spite of being female. And that's how it feels like they're doing it now. Like, I know we haven't covered this on the show, but it has come up with the other Alien things that we did during the TSMP crossover for Alien and Isolation.
Mm-hmm.
The second Alien movie, Ripley is found, discovers that she has woke up so far into the future that her daughter has grown old and died of old age. So now she is a mother with a dead child, and the core of that movie is finding Newt, where this is a surrogate daughter figure for her to take in and to protect. So that is pulling on very feminine traits, being a mother, losing a child, adopting a new one. It's a completely female-centric character arc where she becomes stronger for being female and using those traits.
And Ripley is one of the best written characters in cinema history.
Yeah. As long as you ignore the fourth movie, she is absolutely one of the best.
Well, even the third movie, where it's just like, I have a new adopted daughter. Oh, she dies at the start of the third movie off camera. Oh, okay. Save me, Charles Dance.
It was so weird watching that movie after having watched Game of Thrones, and I'm like, wait, you're getting flirty with a Lannister? Bitch, no.
Don't do it! Actually, I've never seen 3. I've seen bits of Resurrection, and I'm just like, wow, this is stupid, but yet I want to watch the end. I think I caught it like halfway, and I just watched it all the way to the end.
That movie is so bad. Even Ron Perlman couldn't save it.
Or did he save it in a different way?
No. I wanted to like that movie so much.
Well, I think everyone wanted to like that movie. Even Sigourney Weaver wanted to like that movie. She said she didn't want to do another movie unless the script was good, and she thought the script for Resurrection had potential. What went wrong?
Yeah, they also rolled up with a fucking dump truck full of cash and dropped it off in her driveway.
Hey, money talks, man.
Oh man. But speaking of women's issues, welcome to Dane and Jeff's Media Dump.
Hey, this movie does have a lot of women issues. Especially if you have green eyes.
You don't know how rare that is. Do you know how rare that is?
I actually, percentage-wise, I think people with green eyes is only 9% of the Earth's population. And you know what? I'm one of the 9%.
Well, I'm part of the 90% that has the shit brown eyes. But welcome to Dane and Jeff's Media Dump. I'm Mr. L. Dane Puzzles Esquire, Mr. Puzzles for short, Dane for shorter. And with me today, he grumps, he quacks, he's behind you right now. Mr. Grumpy Duck, Jeff. Jeff, how you doing, man?
Quack, quack.
Quack, quack, indeed.
Go,
what have
Ducks.
you been up to?
Where to begin? Where to begin? So you know the whole plumbing debacle I have been going on, right?
Yeah, it is kind of turning into a saga at this point.
I've told you before recording everything that's been going on these past couple weeks. My association has hired a plumbing company that are just full of. Am I allowed to say that it's the R word? Or
yeah, dude, we grew up in the 90s. You got two left this year.
Fantastic. They're fucking retarded. I mean,
zing.
Zing. So, okay, here it is. So, if for those that don't remember, my ceiling started leaking. The plumbing above, I live in a condominium, and the pipes above my unit cracked, and water started to leak into my bathroom ceiling. So this happened on a Thursday. The maintenance people of my building's association came out that Monday and did their best to plug up the crack, temporarily, and they did a good job. It hasn't leaked since. Knock on wood.
Hopefully not soggy wood.
Oh, it's the wall in front of me, and next to it and beyond that wood is a concrete wall. But so last Wednesday, the plumber was supposed to come out and replace it's a six pipe. It's a 6-pipe joint.
Which I'm pretty sure you said is illegal.
It was legal in the 80s, but now it is. The guy that said was illegal, I think, was just an idiot. I think nowadays it's just frowned upon. But either way, they ordered the part, and last Wednesday they were supposed to come out to replace it. Well, lo and behold, the part they ordered was too small. It was supposed to be a 4-inch fitting. They ordered a 3-inch, so it wouldn't work. So they ordered it. This is what the plumber said. He was going to call his company to make sure this happened. This was last Wednesday, so they were going to order it that day, have it shipped for an overnight delivery for Thursday. And then they would come out this past Monday to replace it. Thursday, nothing. Not a word. Friday, not a word. Saturday, not a word. And at this point, I already told my bosses I need to take Monday off, for this reason. Monday comes. My 8, 9, 10 o'clock, nothing. About 10:30, the maintenance guy comes around, and tells me, yeah, they're not coming today. Immediately I'm going, but we told them we made an appointment to come Monday, today. Yeah, they're coming tomorrow. Well, I'm sorry, I can't do tomorrow because I have to go to fucking work. So we set up an appointment for next Monday. But here's the kicker. Because I've taken so many days off, I know for a fact that, and my wife agrees with me, that they would have been pissed at me. So she's going to take a day off. But it's just like, this is going to be the 4th visit to try to get this plumbing fixed. And it's just like, I don't know how, and that's not even, they're still, okay, you fixed the plumbing, now all the drywall that you've cut down has to be replaced. Then that'll be the second appointment. Then the last appointment is all the priming and painting. It's just like,
maybe eventually they will get their shit together, because that's just fucking ridiculous.
It's been, the problem is because 4 people, because there are 4 units connected to this splice or this junction, and so all 4 of us have to be home. So you're asking 4 different units. I don't know if everyone works or not, but you're asking us to waste a day to get this fixed, and then you don't even show up, or show up with the wrong part. It's frustrating. The maintenance guy was nervous. He thought I was going to be mad at him. It's like, no, I'm not mad at you. You guys are doing your job. It's this plumbing company that has zero communication. I mean, if they would have told us last Thursday, hey, we can't make it Monday, we have to switch it to Tuesday. Fine. It's perfectly fine. I'll tell my bosses. I'll change my vacation day. No problem. There's no communication.
And I know when I worked a normal job before I started getting into the contract shit, I had to schedule my days off 3 weeks in fucking advance.
Yeah.
And luckily, most of the time, I had a decent boss who was willing to work with me when shit changed at last minute like that. But not everybody has that kind of luxury, dude.
Oh, that's why I'm glad that my bosses have been very understanding. But we're at the point where it's just like, I keep telling them, oh yeah, the plumbers are coming today, they're gonna fix it, and then they don't show up. So then I have to take another day off, and so that's why my wife is just like, I'll take the day off this time because my boss is gonna be pissed at me. It's like, yeah. So that's been that whole plumbing saga. It's still not over with yet, and I also told you this off camera. I'm not gonna mention it to the listeners or the viewers. That's been my running joke. But last week there was some family issue that really pissed me off. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm still not happy with it.
Well, I know from what you told me, I'm hoping that shit gets better from there forward. So,
well, let's put it like this. My parents called me last Sunday to try to talk it over, and there's still drama. Or it's like they want to create drama. It's just like, guys, what we're asking for is very tiny, and you're making such a huge deal out of it. That's the most I'm going to get into.
Oh, I mean, the parties that are most directly involved seem to be okay, so I don't understand why make drama over it.
Yes, the two that seem to would have the most issues with it are perfectly fine with our decision. They respect our decision. So you would think, issue dropped. No, particularly my mom likes to create more drama than what it's worth.
You know what I like to think right now? There's someone sitting, listening to you talk about this, and they've come to the conclusion that you and your cousin are swingers and your wife swapping or some shit. I am, for the record, I am not saying that Jeff's cousin is wife swapping with Jeff. I'm not saying that, nor am I saying that it's a girl cousin and, it's husband-wife swap. I'm not saying that. That is most definitely not what is going on.
I don't like the tone that you're putting on this statement.
I said that is not what is going on. I'm telling the truth when I say Jeff is not sleeping with his cousin's husband. That is not going on.
You asshole. Fuck you.
Oh, love you, dude.
Love you too.
Your wife is going to be so confused if she ever starts listening to this shit.
Well, that's the thing. I don't tell her that I record for a podcast. I just tell her that it's like, yep, I'm talking to my friends tonight, and she knows I play video games online with friends, so that's probably what she thinks this is. And it's like, no, I'm fine with that deception.
My wife knows about the show. She has zero interest because she hears my bullshit all the time. Why would she want to willingly sit and listen to 3 hours of it where she can't tell me to shut up?
Well, she could tell you to shut up. It's just something you have to edit out. And that's more work for you. So if that ever happens, we'll eventually get to a point in the show where it's just like, Dane, shut the fuck up.
Just picture for a second. Imagine if we just set our wives down in front of the computers and told them go. Kind of like how Tadpog did the Man-Pog episodes with Melissa and Nikki. And it's just like, I don't know what the fuck we're supposed to be talking about. Guess what? Me and Jeff don't either when we sit down. We just do it.
Well, here's the thing. I'm assuming your wife has some Southern in her. And
a little.
She would end up having to talk to a Lithuanian woman that only can, like, a quarter... Like, she has a fair understanding of English. But at the same time, she's still very confused and can't really hold a conversation.
Well, for the record, I am the most country as far as accent goes in the household.
I don't know. Rocky sounds pretty Southern to me.
Son of a bitch. Ready for my week?
Bring it.
All right. So, 1 o'clock in the morning, couple of days after our last episode recording, the dog decides, I gotta go pee. I want to go out. And me and my wife have really weird sleep schedules, so she went out, took him to go pee. I'm sitting on the couch playing on my computer, and I hear my wife start yelling at the dog. So he did the same shit to her that he's always doing to me. Oh, you're out here with me? Oh, you're trying to make sure I'm not going to run away? Oh, you're telling me to stop? Well, I'm just going to ignore you and go on. So he finally run off on her for a change. I went out there. I could see his little shiny collar off at the edge of the woods in the brush where I couldn't get to very easy. And I said, motherfucker, I see you, get your ass over here. Except I'm saying it at full volume in the middle of the night and I'm echoing across to all of the hollers and hills over here. And when he realized, oh shit, he can see me, that collar disappeared. He just went off in the fucking woods. I'm like, you son of a bitch. My wife looks at me and says, what are we going to do? I said, we're going to leave his ass out here and we're going to go to bed. So I turned the light off on his ass. I locked the door and we went the fuck to bed.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward to 8 o'clock in the morning. I get up, start getting my shit together for the day. And I hear pawing at the door. So I walk over to the door. I hear the pawing. And I walk past the door and I go to go take a piss. Because you know what? He's made his bed. He's going to lay in it for a bit. And as I'm coming through to finally let him in, my wife's getting up. And she's like, have you checked for the dog yet? I'm like, oh, he's out there. She's like, why didn't you let him in yet? I'm like, because fuck him. He shouldn't have run off on us. I'm spotting the dog. And I open the door. And as I open the screen door to let him in, that's when he brings the invisible wall with him. That invisible wall being... He got sprayed by a skunk during his escapades that night, and he smells like burnt rubber. So my daughter has a homeschool group event that day. It's one of those, we got to get our shit together. I don't have time to fuck with this. So he goes to timeout, so I put him in his kennel. We open all of the windows in the house, say a quick prayer, and we have to leave. After my daughter's homeschool thing, I go to Walmart, I grab half a gallon of peroxide, I grab a giant box of baking soda, an extra bottle of dog shampoo, and I'm like, okay, this has to happen. We get home, we walk in, the entire house reeks of fucking skunk. Oh, also, while I was there, the other thing I bought was a screw-in ground anchor and 30-foot line. So we get home, I immediately put that in the yard and I measure the line off so that whenever he's on it, he can come up our front steps and stand just inside the doorway, but can't get any further than that.
Mm-hmm.
So he is not allowed outside offline anymore.
Something you probably should have bought months ago, but that's
it's one of those cases of up to this point, we had been walking him on leashes whenever we didn't trust him. During the day was when we really had to watch him. He hadn't been running off at night, and he didn't do it to my wife. He finally got ballsy enough to pull that shit on her. So I put his ass outside, and we start getting the house aired out. And I mix up the cocktail of the soap, the peroxide, and the baking soda. And I go outside, and I spend the next 30 minutes straight scrubbing his ass down. I hose him off, scrub him down again, hose him off. And it got the smell not all the way off, because that's one of those things that the quicker you can get it before it's dried and baked in, the better it works. But, by the time he showed up, it had already dried on him. So now, unless you're right up in his face, because I'm pretty sure his mouth was open when it happened, you can still smell a little bit of it on his face and a little bit from his chest. But for the most part, it took the smell off. But
well, I was just looking something. I was just say because this reminded me. Do you remember that Rugrats episode where Chucky gets skunked?
I vaguely remember it, and I think that they did the tomato juice bath or some shit on him.
It was a borscht. They he took a bath in borscht, and it's like, hey, the smell's gone. Well, I just did a Google search. Does borscht get rid of skunk smell? No. It doesn't effectively remove the smell. It only masks the odor temporarily.
So from everything I've heard, I remember the Mythbusters episode where they actually had a skunk and were intentionally getting sprayed so they could test all the different home remedies.
Uh-huh.
And the one that they found that was the most effective was peroxide, baking soda, and liquid soap.
All right.
So that was the one that I went with because I trust Adam and Jamie.
Even though their friendship was the myth the entire time.
Well, they got along, but it was very much a professional relationship.
Yeah, didn't Jamie hate Adam?
I don't think he hated him. I think he was annoyed by him. But they were, you can tell by the way they interact that they were just very, very different people.
Well, sure. It's like Adam is Bill Murray and Jamie is Egon.
I can see the analogy. But I've actually watched a bunch of things that Adam Savage has done on YouTube where he's told stories about times that they would butt heads.
Mm-hmm.
And as self-serious and everything as Jamie was, he would get so into the weeds with these really, really minute things that he thought was interesting, but would end up causing them a lot of grief where they would have to go and redo something or just have tons and tons of wasted footage where he would just do weaponized autism on this one very specific facet of something.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting stories.
Oh yeah.
It still hurts my feelings knowing that Grant is dead. Grant Imahara.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah,
that shocked a lot of people. I mean, I wasn't really huge in the whole Mythbusters stuff. I mean, yes, I watched a few episodes, but when I heard that Grant died, I was like, oh, it's kind of sad.
Because I actually remembered him from BattleBots whenever he was first on the show.
But so what's the story now? How much of the smell is left on that little bastard?
If you get all up in his grill or if he gets wet, you can still smell it. But the first couple of days was the worst of it. Mm-hmm. And after washing him off with that stuff, that got 99% of it gone.
Yeah.
But it was so damn strong to begin with. It still took a couple more days for it to be tolerable to even want to touch them.
Actually, that's you just reminded me. So this was years ago when I was still living with my parents, and so was my older brother. He who was living with them with his dog. I had just gotten home from working from a grocery store. This is like 11 o'clock at night, and I get out of my car, and I'm like, geez, well, there's a fucking skunk around. I could smell it. Well, my brother's dog got skunked, but the thing was that he was sleeping with her outside in the backyard, so that's like 100 feet between us, and it was a pretty windy night. It was a cool, windy night. And I was like, Jesus, how bad was she hit? Well, apparently she got hit pretty hard.
I'm cutting all of that out of context.
Fair enough. That will be the stinger.
Oh, man.
Added that out into a fashion that it'd just be like, what the fuck?
Oh, that was beautiful. Make a note. So the only other thing that's really going on here, we went and watched the new Looney Tunes movie tonight. Oh shit, you hadn't heard about it?
We're not talking about Space Jam 2, are we?
No. This is like actual 2D animation Looney Tunes.
All right.
It's a Daffy Duck and Porky Pig full-length feature length. And I knew that this had promise based on like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
All right.
So the whole premise is you've got Farmer Jim, and they went like, you know how the old school Looney Tunes would have like these scenes that were just really, really heavily detailed.
Yeah.
Like very artistic, heavily detailed painting. Farmer Jim is drawn like that. And every time he speaks, you have the clear, like, lower detail resolution mouth over top of this still life painting. So like just the mouth is moving, but everything about him is still fixed in place, which was a visual gag I really appreciated. And Farmer Jim finds them as, baby Porky, baby Daffy left on his front porch and takes them in. And then the opening credits is kind of a montage of them growing up together. So there is a scene where baby Porky is reading perfectly out of a book, and baby Daffy is fucking around and finds out, accidentally knocks a vase off that lands on Porky's head, and that's where he gets his stutter. I'm like, okay, that's this kind of movie it's going to be. I'm in. I was getting ready to play on my fucking phone, but no, because me, my wife, my daughter, my mom, and my younger brother, we were the only 5 people in the theater at all.
Oh.
Like the only 5 people watching.
All right.
But it was 4:00 on a Tuesday. So that made me laugh really hard. And then like as they grow up, you get to the point where it's now adult Porky and Daffy. And Farmer Jim, it does kind of an upward angle looking at him where he's, giving them the pep talk of, you're grown now, always stick together, everything will be fine. And then it kind of does a cutaway, and a painting that they had cut out of Farmer Jim standing up straight just kind of starts hopping forward South Park style down towards the pond. And it cuts to, Daffy and Porky, and there's tears in their eyes, and they kind of look really shocked. Like, I can't believe this is happening. He's leaving. And then when the camera cuts back, it's Farmer Jim Mufasa in the clouds during sunset speaking to them. And, it presents as this kind of metaphorical interpretation for Farmer Jim has died and he has left them, but his spirit remains with them.
Yeah.
But I took the literal interpretation of he was so tired of Daffy's shit that he just signed the house over to their names and walked straight into the pond and drowned himself in front of them.
I'm trying to think. You just reminded me. There's what show was it where it was The Simpsons. I think this was a Simpsons gag where someone was talking to an old college professor. It was Mo. Yeah, it was Mo talking to his old bartending professor, and he just finds out it's like, I have cancer, Mo. It's like, oh, is there anything I can do? It's like, no, unless you have the cure for cancer, because that would be great. It's like, no, sorry, Professor. I don't have that. It's like, goodbye, Mo. And then you just see him walk into a pond, drowning himself, and Mo is just like, don't you want to take your shoes off first? It's like, and just walks away. And the last you ever see, and the scene cuts right before, like a bubble, like the last air bubble of this professor, like comes out of the pond, and then the scene cuts. It's just like, huh. All right.
Got dark.
But that was The Simpsons. The Simpsons were always dark. That's why they were great.
But it's actually a pretty good movie, and like I won't spoil the bulk of it because, like I said, the first 5 minutes I was invested. But the core premise of the movie is it's kind of a spoof off the old cheesy like 70s horror films of aliens and zombies type shit. Really well done animation. Like it really captured old Looney Tunes, and it was just a fun little watch.
How long is it? Like hour 15?
Like an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
Perfect.
Because with previews and everything, we were in there for just under 2 hours.
Perfect. When I see it streaming, I'll watch it.
But yeah, it gives me hope that if they're going to start doing classic Looney Tunes shit like that on a semi-regular basis, like, because they have mishandled the Looney Tunes IP since we were kids.
Well, there's a couple shows. Like, do you remember the Duck Dodgers spinoff that may have lasted a couple seasons?
I remember them making it, but I don't know that I ever actually watched it, at least not consistently.
I thought that was a very funny cartoon. I thought they, especially that one episode that they spoofed Star Trek, I thought that was very well done. And even the mid-2010s, the Looney Tunes show, where like Bugs, it lives in a house, Daffy lives with him. It's supposed to be like the suburbia sort of show. You would think this, like, okay, this is very stupid. There were some things that were just absolutely brilliant, like the portrayal of Lola. She was definitely the best part of the show, just because she was so dumb. But it's just like, yep, I'm very accepting of it. There's one episode where it's just like Yosemite Sam is gonna turn a whole new leaf. So you actually see him take off his mask. You know how he always had like that black thing around his eyes, like maybe it would have been a shadow from his hair or something. Nope, it was a mask. And then eventually, like a few minutes later, he ends up looking very Mario, like Italian style Mario. It's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm completely unfamiliar with that one. But the last Looney Tunes thing I really, really liked was I really enjoyed Tiny Toon Adventures when I was a kid.
Well, sure.
I like the old classic Looney Tunes. I remember the Looney Bugs Bunny movie. They had the cameo in Roger Rabbit. That's it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I always love those movies where it's just like Daffy Duck's Fantastic Island, or was it like 1001 Bugs Bunny Adventures, and it was all just clip shows. But it was mostly, I think, these were the final years of Mel Blanc. So you could definitely tell, like, when it was the 40s Merry Melody episodes, because obviously everything sounded like how we remember them. But when it cuts to the new, like, 80s animation, and Mel Blanc sounds completely different, just because I think he was battling throat cancer at the time. So his voice sounded very great.
Yeah. But like, even the original Space Jam, which the superior of the two movies, missed the point of Bugs Bunny as a character.
Yes.
Because if you look at the original Bugs Bunny cartoons, like Bugs Bunny presented with this situation should be wrapped up in less than 10 minutes.
Yes.
And you shouldn't need Michael Jordan.
But you may need Bill Murray and Wayne Knight.
Like, Bill Murray was the most reasonable casting decision in that entire film.
And he was only in it for like maybe a total of 5 minutes.
I mean, yeah.
We all watched it as a kid. We all loved it. Now that we're older, we're all just like, yeah, that wasn't a good movie.
Yeah, I watched it with my daughter, and the whole time I was like, yeah, so, yeah, you're going to love this. Watch it with me. I loved this when I was a kid. And, like, 15 minutes in, she's ready to wander off. And I just asked her, like, you're not into it, are you? She said, not really, Dad. I said, I'm sorry. I remember it a lot better than what it actually is. You have better taste at your age than I did at your age.
Let's watch Speed Racer.
Exactly. She fucking loves Speed Racer.
Has she watched Roger Rabbit?
No.
You need to show her that, just because, most movies of that, we're familiar with, like, okay, the real person ends up in the cartoon world. Roger Rabbit is different. It's just like, nope, cartoons are living in the real world. It's just like, that's
all the
directly.
hoops they jump through to make that movie work.
Oh my god, all the contracts.
Well, I'm just talking about like the actual effects of getting them to be able to react to something that wasn't there.
That's the thing. Your mind processes it so you get so involved in it. You really forget it's just like, oh, Bob Hoskins is just holding air, or he's like holding a pipe or something when he's supposed to be holding Roger.
He made it look so natural. Like, there no other instance of any movie, like old or new, because all modern blockbusters is that same fucking shit. Is people interacting with things that are going to be CG'd in later.
Yeah.
They made it look so effortless that they tricked the rest of Hollywood into thinking they could do it too.
And it turns out, no. Hollywood can't do it. This was just something entirely special, and I guess, Robert Zemeckis, man's a professional.
It's like all the camera trickery they went through in the Lord of the Rings movies to make the hobbits look proportionally the same way while shooting on the same stage. Having actors who are both, between 5 and 6 feet tall, appearing to have vastly different height differences using those perspective tricks.
Well, John Rhys Davies, man's like 6'5", and he ends up playing Gimli, who's what, 4 feet?
Yeah, like dwarves are like 4.5 feet at the tops, and halflings, the hobbits, they're like 3.5 foot. They made all that shit work so good. And yeah, whenever they actually do the cutaways and they've got little people pretending to be the hobbits, you can tell that's not, Elijah Wood or Sean Astin.
Yeah.
But the rest of the movie around that's so good that you're willing to hand wave it.
Yeah. You get so sucked in, it's just like you forget, it's just like, oh, it's just it's camera, it's trick photography.
And then you get to the Hobbit movies, which give Ian McKellen a mental breakdown because they did the movie in 3D, so he had to be by himself the entire time on a fucking green screened out soundstage interacting with tennis balls. And yeah, you know what? I probably would have broke down and cried like a baby too.
I mean, imagine if Sean Connery took the role as Gandalf, and then it turns out it's like, yeah, we want you to return return for the Hobbit movies.
Well, one, he'd have had to survived, because I think he was dead before the Hobbit movies came out.
No, he was still alive.
Was he?
I
thought he died before they did those.
No, Hobbit came out in like 2009, and Sean Connery only died in the last couple of years.
Shit, he died in 2020? I could have swore he would have been dead longer than that.
He'd been out of Hollywood for a long time, so maybe that's why. But no, he was.
Well, I mean, he
around.
went on a high note with League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I mean, what better way to cap off your career?
It's not a good movie, but it's a perfectly okay movie. I like it. It's bad, but I like it. That's the thing. Everyone's just like, "Oh, this movie's shit." It's just like you gotta just understand it. You are watching crap. Just
Do you know how? It was probably the third time I watched that movie before it finally clicked with me that that's Tom Sawyer and not just some rando that they stuck in.
I think it's supposed to be hinted at because I don't think they say his first name. They just like, I'm Agent Sawyer. So it's like, yeah, okay. Apparently it was a deleted scene. It's just like, yeah, the only reason I'm doing this is because Moriarty murdered my partner, Agent Finn. It's like, okay, I see what you're doing. Sometimes you just got to enjoy crap.
I enjoyed the movie as dumb fun. It's not a good one, but it's not a bad one.
I'll tell you what this wasn't dumb, but this certainly was what the fuck am I watching? But I did enjoy it. Did you have more to say, or do we want to get into the topic of the episode?
I think we were both thinking segue at the same time because you kind of went the same direction that I was getting ready to. But before we get into the movie, this week for Haha Dalton Found an Error, no notes. So apparently, Haha Dalton, we didn't make an error.
Incredible. High five.
So yeah. Hold on, let's get the Foley. So yeah, another flawless performance by Dane and Jeff. We made 0 mistakes last week. And
I think last week was also, or the last episode, we had 0 mistakes on technical errors. All our equipment worked perfectly, so it's like, yes. Well,
yep. So we're definitely going.
And we're back. Sadly, Truncate Sound is going to shorten that down.
And maybe I'll actually put in some editing effort to keep that joke in there.
Yes.
So, this week, we have John Carpenter's cult classic film to discuss, Big Trouble in Little China. So, I inflicted this on you, Jeff.
Yes, you did. And for those who don't remember,
you've never seen this before, right?
I had never seen this before, but when you told me this, I looked it up. I was like, oh, it's John Carpenter? Ooh, okay, I'm excited.
So, what sort of expectations did you have going into this? Were there any kind of things that you had going through your head that you expected when you started this movie?
I guess I was kind of maybe expecting this to be just mostly focused on is it which one is it in China? Is it the Triad or the Yakuza?
China is Triad, Japan is Yakuza.
So I guess I was thinking maybe this would be like a Triad sort of thing. I don't know, it's something along those lines. I certainly was not expecting to start off with Kurt Russell driving the Pork Chop Express, which, listeners, I may have converted Dane to start playing American Truck Simulator, because I believe your question was, can I drive the Pork Chop Express? My answer was, I'm sure there's a mod for it. Sure enough, Kana posted an image of like, yep, there's a mod for the Pork Chop Express.
Yeah, and I owe Connor an apology because after I said, like, yeah, if I'm gonna drive the Pork Chop Express, I'll play the truck game, and then she posts that, I'm like, you bitch, damn it.
So we'll finally do that Steam Machine convoy. We've been saying we'll do since that Steam Machine episode.
Yeah, I know I didn't say it on Discord, but Connor, I'm sorry I called you a bitch.
You were thinking it.
Oh no, I said it out loud to no one in particular in the room.
You just have to say it like Brad Pitt does in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Bitch.
Or like that Key and Peele sketch. I told my wife, I called her, I said, looks around. Bitch. You called your wife a bitch? Yeah, I did. You said that to her? Yeah, man, I said that to her. Honey, where you at? Who you? Yeah, hi, dear. How's it going?
Of course. We try to act like the tough guys, and yet we're pussies. Wait, how many?
I would never call my wife a bitch. Like, I'm not even going to play around. I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't say it to her face. I wouldn't say it behind her back. I wouldn't even refer to her as that in my head.
How many pussies do we get in a year? 3?
You can say pussy as much as you want.
Hell yes. But to finish my thought, this was not what I was expecting. I guess I was expecting this, because, from the stuff I've seen of John Carpenter, I would think this would be a bit more serious. And this certainly was not serious.
So, I guess we should go ahead and get our mandatory internet plot blurb out of the way. Because even if you watch this movie, so much is going on and it moves so quick. It's really easy to just let it wash over you, and when everything's said and done, like, you remember flashbulbs of events, but you still don't know what the fuck just happened.
It's true. I still don't know what the hell I just watched.
So, courtesy of IMDb, Kurt Russell plays hard-boiled truck driver Jack Burton, who gets caught in a bizarre conflict within and underneath San Francisco's Chinatown. An ancient Chinese prince and Chinatown crime lord has kidnapped a beautiful green-eyed woman who is the fiancée to Jack's best friend. Jack must help his friend rescue the girl from the evil Lo Pan, who is using her to break the ancient curse that keeps him a fleshless and immortal spirit. Which is probably the closest thing that you can say to make any sense of the plot of this movie.
Correct, yes. That is definitely, it's just like, yeah, that's, I guess you could say that's what happens in this movie.
So, I really think that, like, the average person watching this, there is a massive disconnect revolving Kurt Russell's character. Because the movie portrays everything with him as the protagonist. Even down to the, like, opening of the film with Victor Wong sitting there talking to a lawyer.
Which that shocked me. It's just like, wait a minute. Wait. It's Walter Chain from Tremors.
I knew that you'd like that. Because whenever I watched Tremors, my first thought was, holy shit, it's Egg from Chinatown. Or Big Trouble in Little China. So just the fact that we both have that kind of same love for that actor. And we got to experience that moment with these two movies.
But yes, what you were saying, you're expecting, because Kurt Russell is top billed, that you would think that this is his movie, when in reality he's kind of acting like the bumbling sidekick, and it's his friend Wayne who is like the main protagonist.
If you excised Jack Burton from the plot, by and large, nothing would really change.
No. I mean,
he's the sidekick. He is the token sidekick as a white guy in Chinatown.
Well, here's the thing. This is what proves your point. At the very end, when he's doing right before they're getting ready for the final showdown in the, to stop there's a wedding involved. And this wedding will eventually lead to a sacrifice. That's not the point. The point is, right before the battle begins, like a bit of concrete hits him on the head, knocking him out. And then he is out of this fight for like half the scene.
And his only real contribution is after his gun gets broken by someone punching it really hard and just disintegrating it. He's trying to get his boot knife out, and this possessed thing of armor comes up, or maybe it's just a big dude wearing armor. The movie's so crazy, it's unclear on which way it's supposed to be interpreted. But as he's trying to fumble this knife out, he accidentally shoves the knife further so it sticks out of the bottom of his foot. And as he curls up in the fetal position, this hulking behemoth lands vital point first on the knife and pins him down for the rest of the fight.
It cuts back to him like numerous times where it's just like he's trying to push him off. So I'm guessing this armor guy weighs a ton or so, and he's just like he's trying to push him off, and eventually the only thing he can do is he struggles to just push him off to the side. And at that point it's just like, yep, the fight's done. You missed it.
But the part that you left out, the concrete that knocks him out for the first half of the fight, only lands on him because as they begin the fight, he points his machine gun straight up and fires a bunch of rounds straight above his head.
And the concrete he shoots knocks him out. Yes, you are correct.
Or the fight in the warehouse earlier where Wang is fighting this guy and Jack goes to shoot the guy to save Wang, but the safety's on. And like the lawyer dude standing off to the side is like, dude, you gotta turn off the safety. The safety, man, turn off the safety. And he finally gets the safety off and shoots a dude and kills him. And you can see this kind of horrified expression on Jack's face as he has clearly killed his first man in his entire life.
Mm-hmm.
First time you plugged a guy? Nah. Tons of times.
I mean, this movie is going to be hard to keep track just because there's so much that happens, and a lot of it just doesn't make any sense just by talking about it. You have to experience it. You have to watch it. I will say that. Let me talk about a few things that got me a little excited. So, like, they enter Little China. You know, they're Jack and Wayne are driving down in the Pork Chop Express through it down the alleyway, and they start seeing a procession, like a funeral procession, and then it turns out that eventually it's going to be like two rival gangs fight one another. First, the person that leads the what is it, the Little Devils or Lords of Death?
Yep.
The lead, like the centermost guy leading the Lords of Death. I was like, oh, it's Al Leon. He's in like so many movies as a henchman. Some example, Die Hard. He was in The Shadow. I mean, you look up this guy's filmography. It's just like, man, he's played nothing but henchman.
And so just, I guess, a drop of like preface for this movie. I want to rewind a little bit, do a little bit of the history to explain this, because like most of the action scenes relied heavily on the stunt guys who were very experienced, and they knew the like Hong Kong cinema style of action. So this movie started life as a Western.
Yeah. So
wrap all the nonsense that you watched in this film, instead of being modern day, as a Western.
Wouldn't work. Because I said this to you, it's just like, all Jack wants is get his truck. That's all he's fighting for, because his truck gets stolen, and it's just like, I want my truck back. That is his hero's journey for the truck.
Yes.
So if this was done as a Western, what's he gonna do? It's just like, I need my horse back.
That was the literal plot point. It really was over his horse.
I mean, it doesn't have the same reign, especially when the fact is like, what would the horse be called? Because I doubt it would have been called the Pork Chop Express.
I would say, because the two big differences, it was a Western and the original script played it straight.
Mm-hmm.
So if you took the more slapsticky nonsense approach that this film ended up with, I think that the horse would have just been named Pork Chop.
No, I'm trying to think. This movie is considered a cult classic?
It is, very much.
what would the reception be like if this was played as a serious Western? And we would just have to think of, at this time, we have a lot of Clint Eastwood movies. We would have had the Silverado, the movie Western I was telling you about last time. There was a lot of serious Westerns. So that's probably why it's just like, we can't do another one, because it's just going to be forgotten. We have to change this. We have to put a spin on it.
I think it would have been possible to play this movie straight, kind of in the same way. Did you watch Cowboy vs. Aliens?
Yes.
So they play that movie straight, which totally caught me off guard with a title like Cowboys vs. Aliens. You're expecting something more in the same vein as Big Trouble in Little China.
Before.
Like just something you're expecting something that's very self-aware and ridiculous. But they played that movie straight. And I think it benefited from it. I still don't think it was a great movie, but I think that if they had went the silly route, that one would have been harmed. I think doing this one silly the way they did, being in on the joke while they made the movie, afforded them more creative liberties, and that makes the movie what it is. I think they could have played it straight, but instead of being this LSD fever dream of a movie that we wound up with, it would have been more like how the original Evil Dead is hilarious, but they didn't mean to be hilarious.
But yeah, I think what would have happened is this: if they tried to play this movie straight, it would have just been forgotten. It would just be another run-of-the-mill Western. I don't think anyone would care. It may have been more well received. This probably would have ended up being maybe a huge commercial success, but it would have been forgotten.
Yeah, I think you're right. But it probably would have been received a little bit better at the time, because it did flop at the box office.
But even still, it still got some positive reviews. I mean, let me see if I can look up some. No, I'm just reading what Roger Ebert said, and it seems that he wasn't too fond of it. I don't know. It's hard to say. This came out in 1986, so who it's hard to say what.
And it also came out against Aliens. They were trying to beat the Eddie Murphy movie, The Golden Child, which was also a heavily Chinese mysticism influenced film.
Mm-hmm.
So that was taken into account. And the fact that they were rushing, they were on a fairly low budget and doing everything practical, which, fun little side note, where do you think the bulk of their effects budget went? Having watched the movie, what thing do you think drank up the most of the effects budget?
I would have to say there is a lot of like lightning effect and such, so I probably would have to think it would be along those sort of effects. I mean, there's quite a bit of it. I mean, literally one of the three like warrior characters, his name was Lightning.
Oh, you mean Raiden? Or Raiden?
Raiden.
I mean, they obviously just ripped that straight from Mortal Kombat and stuck it in the movie, right? I'm trying to trigger people right now.
This came out
I'm trying to trigger people.
I was gonna say, wait a minute. It's like you're tricking me right now.
No, I'm trying to trigger somebody who's like, dude, Mortal Kombat came out in the 90s.
That's what they all say.
But yeah, the rotoscoped lightning effects was done by the dude from Industrial Light and Magic who did a bunch of effects for Star Wars.
Oh, ILM are huge. Star Wars, Star Trek. I mean, they also, I think, eventually did it with Jurassic Park. So ILM is huge in terms of effects.
But I don't know if he was still working or currently working for them when he did this, but it was the dude from that group who did those effects. But the bulk of their effects budget went into the Guardian. The weird D&D beholder looking thing that was the floating head with all the different eyes.
That was a weird thing. Just because it wasn't talking or anything, and literally, a lot of it, the times, its face would just be like a
Yeah, all scrunch up and mean looking, and the little
just
eyes
like this
coming around.
weird looking, like smirk. It's just like, I know something you don't. It's like you're kind of unsettling.
My favorite part was when Wang just stabbed it straight through the forehead, and it goes. Just that facial expression as the knife goes between its eyes. It goes. Ah. But there were so many moving parts in that they dumped most of their budget into just that, and it's so weird.
It was effective.
It's so weird.
It is.
But there's just so much that goes on in this movie. Like, I watched this movie constantly when I was a kid. Like, it seemed like it was always on TV, or we would like grab it at the video store when we would do our 5 for 5 rentals. 5 movies, 5 days, $5.
Sure, yeah. Love it.
I've watched this so many times when I was a kid. And whenever I picked it, I was like, I just remember this being so fun and so weird. And there's no way the movie is as weird as I remember it. This movie has to make more sense. And I watched, I'm like, dude, it makes even less sense.
It doesn't. Like, in the airport, when Kim Cattrall, like, is like, with that other Asian Chinese girl, it's just like, okay, what role does this Asian girl that she's protecting going to play? She doesn't. She's just a MacGuffin.
Yeah. Like, she was the girl that was supposed to get kidnapped when the gang runs in there and grabs Wang's fiance.
Fiance, yeah.
And, Wang's got the real hero's journey. He wants to save the girl and do all this stuff. But the movie is very, very clearly more invested in Jack Burton, who has no idea what's going on through the entire film. Is just getting swept up in events and wants his truck back.
He's not even looking for romance. And it's just, I mean, yes, he flirts with Kim Cattrall, Gracie, and she's like very against him at first, but then all of a sudden it's just like, I'm kissing you. It's just like, well, that was a very forced romance. But you know what? That's just the tone of this movie. I'm still invested. Oh no.
Oh, bullshit. Remember when we said we didn't have any issues last time?
But that was last time. So I guess that means that Tombstone is better than Big Trouble.
I mean, I guess you can make an argument. It is a more artistic film.
I mean, Tombstone is more structured, more focused. This certainly is not focused.
No, but it is nonstop. So, I can't remember exactly what I was saying, but Jack just wants his truck back. That's all he really cares about for the film. Contrast that against Wang, who has a bumbling sidekick who keeps messing things up, is a competent martial artist, possibly a gambling problem, but you know what? We won't get into that very much.
We were talking about, or I mentioned romance, even at the end of the movie, where it's just like, oh, and these two are gonna ride off together happily ever after. No, he's just like, nah, I want my truck.
Archie, you want to kiss her goodbye? Nah. But the continuity thing, you sparked my memory, and I now remember what I was saying. So after their big kiss, whenever he gets in there to save her, did you notice he's got a big smear of lipstick on his own lips?
Yes.
All the way up until the final confrontation with Lopan?
I just figured he wiped it off. But no, I was just like, I was so in it that I didn't notice.
Yeah, he's got a big smudge of lipstick on his face when he runs in and using his really good knife, throws it to take out Lopan, misses by a mile, hits the gong. Lopan picks it up. This is a very good knife. Goodbye, Mr. Burton. Throws it back at him, and this is where we get our payoff for the setup that has been built up through the whole movie. Jack is always talking about having good reflexes and how it's all in his reflexes. At the beginning of the movie, he catches the beer bottle and, as almost slaps him in the face.
Mm-hmm.
He just randomly catches the knife that's thrown at him and turns around and instantly throws it back and buries it in Lopan's forehead and kills him.
All in the reflexes.
And we get the payoff. And that's when I think she finally wipes the lipstick off his face after he has killed Lopan.
But yeah, no, it's just I was so in it, especially after that reflex throw. I was just like, Chekhov's reflexes. They brought it back. They mentioned in the first act. They brought it back in the third act.
And the thing is, they're not even done at this point in the movie. Like, you would think the big bad's killed the day of save, but no. Like, there's still two of the Raiden lookalikes running around the fucking thing.
Well, Wayne killed the swordsman, the one that's called Rain. The one that the second one that Gracie and Jack encounter, Thunder, he sees that Lopan is dead, and he throws a hissy fit.
Yeah,
he blows himself up from a hissy fit.
He temper tantrums so hard that he explodes.
And the funny thing is, I know that last cut of him, you know, like when he's really swelled up and he does like that, I've seen that before in some other like YouTube video. And I was just thinking, oh, that must be from like Garbage Pail Kids or something ridiculous. I didn't realize it was from this. But so yeah, the second one, he dies from a hissy fit. The third one, Lightning, oh, you're expecting, this is going to be like a huge battle, you know, like the obviously the toughest of the three, you know, like the Black Waltz in Final Fantasy IX, haha. And it's just like, nope, Egg drops a Buddha statue on him and crushes him. It's just like, you know what, no, that's fitting.
Yeah, like,
that's certainly the tone of this movie.
Just everything is so anticlimactic as far as like the villain deaths go. You've got Lopan, who's this 2,000-year-old sorcerer who's somehow has ancient Chinese temples and shit, presumably miles underground underneath San Francisco is where I think this is set. And no one questions it. You just accept it.
But here's the thing: the two deaths that feel like the most fitting was when Wayne killed the first of the three. You know, that was actually like a proper fight. Which, you know, when I say proper fight, you know, they must be doing circles in the air in this room because they hardly ever touch the ground.
Which, a fun fact about most of the stunt work on that, instead of relying on wires, which is what traditional like Hong Kong action movies did, a lot of that was done with trampolines.
Oh, yes.
And like when you watch that knowing that, it's so obvious.
Well, I'm gonna have to watch it now and look for it. But so yeah, it's that death felt fitting. It's just like, okay, this is what this, you know, it's an action movie, Chinese martial arts movie. All right. Jack's killing Lopan, you know, the entire movie he's always saying on the reflexes. You know, that's what he relies on. We see it multiple times. The fact that the next two deaths were caused by hissy fit and a Buddha statue, I was just like, you know what? I applauded.
The movie is simultaneously like, you've got this love letter to the Hong Kong action movies of old, wrapped up in this movie that is just taking the piss with your stereotypical 80s action star. And it's wrapped up in this insane plot that at the end of the day doesn't matter because you can watch the whole movie, not know exactly what's actually going on, and still enjoy every minute of this nonsense.
But yes, correct. But here's the thing: while you were talking, it follows. I think it follows traditions of old Asian martial arts movies. So it has tropes, and we see these tropes. This movie is full of tropes of what we're expecting, what's going to happen. But John Carpenter had the balls and be like, no, we're going to be making fun of ourselves. And we're just, all these tropes, we're just going to throw, we're going to lead you in that direction. And it's just like, no, it's not going to happen. So, like, we're expecting a big final fight at the end. No. The two, the main character and the romance are gonna drive off into the sunset. No. Everything you expect to happen, it just turns out, no, that's not what happened here.
No.
I mean, even at the beginning of the movie, where it's Egg is talking to that lawyer, it's like, this is what you need to know about Jack Burton. It really turns out that Jack Burton didn't really have a lot to do with this movie.
Yeah, he could have been gone and nothing would have changed.
He could have taken the money from Wayne, drove off on the Pork Chop Express, and the movie would have continued on with Wayne as the main character, which he is. But the movie tries to, it's just like, no, that we're following Jack. It's like, but this is Wayne's. Like Lord of the Rings. Yes, we're talking about Frodo. Sam is the hero of the franchise.
Yeah, he is the real unsung hero, but, Now, I don't know if you come across anything, but I've seen mention, and apparently this is something that's been floating around for years. Supposedly, there have been talks for the better part of a decade about doing a Big Trouble in Little China reboot or sequel with Rock the Dwayne Johnson.
No, it wouldn't have the same tone. Now, of course, you're asking what tone. Here's the thing: movies like this could have only been made at a certain point in history. That point has passed, long past. It's just, you can't make this movie anymore. Like, they're redoing the Toxic Avenger. It's not going to have the same tone. It's going to be too polished.
So, the fact that whatever they were talking about has been in development hell for so long, I don't think it would happen. But I do think that it would be entertaining if they made it. They brought Kurt Russell back, and it was Jack Burton finally coming back through the area in San Francisco, encountering Grace, and find out, guess what, Jack? You got a son, and it's The Rock. What do you mean I have... He's Samoan.
We didn't do it.
But with that for the jumping off point, and then go even more whack job with, everything that they do, I think it could be entertaining.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be entertaining, but it's just, I don't think it won't have the same camp. They're going to try to play it more serious. It's like, you guys didn't understand the tone of the first movie. Now, is John Carpenter involved? Or have there been talks of him being involved? Like as an EP or something?
The things that I've come across, I haven't looked super deep into it, but he's pretty much said, yeah, you can do whatever you want. But I don't know that he would be involved, whether it either be directly or indirectly. I know that Kurt Russell has made, statements of, there's two conditions for him to even consider coming back. One of which, it would have to be a good script. But the thing that put it on my radar, whenever I was kind of, looking into the history and stuff, the Angry Video Game Nerd had a Cinemassacre movie review on it.
Mm-hmm.
And this pick was made by Macaulay Culkin, who was on the show with them.
All right.
And they were talking about it. And that's how I kind of found out that this was even a thing. But what they wanted to see out of the movie was, at the very end of the movie, as Jack rides off into it's not at sunset, it's nighttime, but the camera cuts to the back of the Pork Chop Express and the weird, hairy demon monster crawls up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Before it cuts to credits. The thing I thought was hilarious was they said they wanted to see the movie where you find out that the demon thing escaped with them and it just wanted to be their friends, and they shaved it, and underneath all of that was The Rock.
You see that? I'd be happy with. I think that'd be funny. I mean, apparently this thing's called the Wild Man, and the Wild Man's got nards.
Like wild men do.
But I told you earlier, I had some complaints with this movie.
Okay, so
Let me start naming off these complaints. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Those are my complaints.
Grumpy Jeff enjoyed the movie and didn't
Man,
have
this
anything to bitch about.
What was the... I sent you a few messages while I was watching that movie, and what were they mostly consisting of? Dude, what the fuck am I watching, and why is this so much fun?
Man, I told you, like, you can't really explain this movie properly to someone who has never seen it.
The only thing I saw was Kurt Russell, John Carpenter. That's it. I was hooked when you told me that. I didn't realize that this, and also just because there are so many other names, you know, I know Kim Cattrall from Star Trek. I know James Hong. He's a pretty well known actor. You know, Victor Wong, Egg. Again, he's Walter Chain in Tremors. Al Leon. This is the one I told you, and you just like, I didn't know he was in here. And forgive me for the butchery. Kerry Hiroyuki Tagawa, you know, Shane Shun or Shane Sun from Mortal Kombat. Haha, there's the connection.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Dennis Dunn, who played Wang, I think he was actually in John Carpenter's next film. Prince of Darkness, 87. And he wasn't even the first choice for Big Trouble. They originally wanted to get Jackie Chan.
And that would have been young Jackie Chan. Like, kind of almost no-name Jackie Chan.
At least as far as, you know, here in the West.
Here in the West, correct.
And speaking of Jackie Chan, I've got a small tangent to make. When we were at the movies earlier today, I saw a movie poster for a new Karate Kid film with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan on the poster.
But they just finished Cobra Kai.
Yeah, so I haven't finished watching through Cobra Kai. I've watched like the first 3 or 4 seasons of it. But I know that canonically Miyagi's dead.
Yes.
And I know in that Karate Kid reboot that had Jaden Smith in it, Jackie Chan was the Miyagi.
Correct.
So I'm trying to figure out, are they retconning? Are they changing continuities? Or did they just bring in Jackie Chan because they don't know who else to bring in to have the requisite Asian martial arts master? And he's going to be playing a completely different character. Because I haven't looked into any of it. I just saw the movie poster today.
Well, always for what we know is the Ralph Macchio movies take place in California, apart from the second one, which takes place in Okinawa. And the Jackie Chan movie is in Japan or China, or, you know, that takes place in Asia. So it's possible that it's the same universe, just different parts of the world, and obviously at different points in time.
See, I never watched the Jaden Smith one, so I'd always assumed it was a reboot.
You know, I'm actually very shocked. I just have to assume that people hated the movie, but I can't believe they haven't brought back Hilary Swank.
For the what was it? The next Karate Kid?
Karate, yes. Which I unabashedly like that movie.
Okay. So, the 2010 Karate Kid that had Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. He played Mr. Han.
Yeah.
And he is playing Mr. Han again in the new Karate Kid Legends.
Okay.
So, they are definitely continuing the continuity, and everything is still... See, having never watched it, I'd always assumed that they were rebooting him as Miyagi.
Oh, I know he wasn't Miyagi. These were entirely new characters.
Okay.
But I know the next Karate Kid, you know, Mr. Miyagi was in that. So I can't. I don't know why they haven't brought her back, unless she just refuses to do so.
I remember watching that one and not being like super into it.
I mean, it's not good, but I like it. And the villain is Michael Ironside. What more do you need?
That is true.
Are we gonna have a Michael Ironside month now?
I mean, we could.
Just as long as we don't do Top Gun. Because I unabashedly do not like that movie.
You know, it's been so long since I've seen it. I couldn't tell you anything about it.
You're not missing much. I mean, the only thing people will say, oh, you're missing is men playing volleyball.
But we're going to have to cover some Karate Kid stuff at some point.
It seems like it.
There's so much love for just all of that between the two of us. Because I loved those movies when I was a kid. And I've really had fun with Cobra Kai. But we are talking about Big Trouble in Little China. I did tangent us pretty hard.
It's what we're known for at this point. If this is your first episode, you'll soon learn, oh, these guys are just nothing but tangents. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what more we can say apart from everything we've said in this episode so far. It literally makes no sense. That's why you need to watch it. Because it still won't make any sense. But you'll have a damn good time watching it.
Yeah, if you've never seen the movie, nothing we have said has done it justice. The only thing you can do is just experience it yourself. Let it wash over you. Don't think about it. Just go along for the ride and experience it.
I mean, okay, I think we talked last time, from what I started using this method called the phone test. Whether you watch if you can watch a movie without picking up your phone. There was one time I picked up my phone just because it was maybe a third in, maybe about halfway, when they started just getting a little too exposition-y. It's just like, okay, we're kind of learning the history of Lopan and how he's like, they were just talking about him, and I was just like, I kind of don't care. Because that's not what this movie is about. It's like you're trying to give this movie stakes, and everything I've watched up to this point, there are no stakes. I guess if I were to have one complaint, it was maybe that moment, and that's when I picked up my phone, just because I felt it went on just a touch too long when I felt the movie.
And knowing some of the insanity that happens in the movie, it does take surprisingly longer to get started than what you would expect.
Yes. This movie is 99 minutes long. I felt it was 9 minutes too long. I think this could have been a perfect 90.
If I was going to go at it and take anything out, it would be Victor Wong's opening scene where he's kind of building up Jack. And it does make sense that would be the one that I would zero in on, because after the fact, I did find out that was something the studio made them film and add in after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Because the studio didn't understand that Jack Burton wasn't a hero. He's a bumbling idiot.
Yes.
Who succeeds by just sheer happenstance in any situation.
Mm-hmm.
But they demanded that to kind of build up Jack to make him seem more badass and important than he really was, because the studio didn't get the joke. They fundamentally misunderstood this film.
Yes.
As most studios do.
But I actually think it worked better for me, just because it's like, okay, I understand this is going to be a Kurt Russell movie. That's why I was thinking, okay, watching that intro, it's just going to be like a Chinatown triad, like turf war, and somehow Kurt Russell gets involved. Well, that's not what happens. I mean, it sort of happens, or it gives you the perception that that's what's going to happen, but then all of a sudden they immediately throw in this supernatural with the three sorcerers, and then all of a sudden it's just like Jack thinks he just ran over Lopan. It just turns out to be all like an illusion. It's just like, okay, movie, what are you doing here?
Yeah,
And then that was the beginning point of what to expect. This movie was going to go off the rails.
that is definitely the moment that everything goes off the rails, and it never really gets back on them again.
No, at least until the very end. But even then, it's just like, okay, we destroyed everyone. We're driving off in the Pork Chop Express. Oh, here comes the police. We're gonna have to be a police chase now. It's just like, no, literally, it's just like, oh, okay, that's the end of the movie. The police were just going to take help with the fire at the the warehouse with the fire truck.
I think the only thing that actually makes that opening scene make any sense at all, talking about Jack and how, oh, leave him alone, he's a good guy, and all this other stuff, it only makes sense to me if you look at it through the lens of Egg was trying to get the cops to look more at Jack so that he could protect Wang and get heat off of him.
Because Wayne is the real hero.
Yeah. He's the real hero. He's the one that really has shit at stake. And, like, Jack just rolled in, took him for all he was worth at poker, and rolled out of town trying to act, the badass the whole way, like he knew exactly what was going on the whole time without a clue. So, like, yeah, there's your patsy.
I actually like that. Now that you're talking about it, it's like, okay, that makes sense. It's just like, you're the destined, you're the chosen one. We need to protect you.
Hey, there you go.
Jack's an idiot.
That's how the second one should open up. Jack's getting out of prison. He's been in prison for 30 years because he got arrested for blowing all that shit up. And he's hunting down Wang because he's tired of this bullshit and he wants to clear his name, and finds out that he has a son with the woman that he kissed once and left, played by The Rock.
Wait, the woman is played by The Rock?
No, his son.
But I like the idea that the wild man was played by The Rock. Unless we want to have him being casted by Jason Momoa.
I was going to say Joanna Wadi. It's The Rock's cousin.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I don't know who that is.
Roman Reigns. Listen to the show that we named the fuck after you, and you know who I was talking about.
There's a show named after me?
Yeah, Grumpy Jeff's Pro Wrestling Power Hour.
I thought I was the Grumpy Duck. There's no show called the Grumpy Duck.
Anytime we do a bonus episode, we already decide we're going to call it Unsanctioned. We'll do it Grumpy Dunk Unsanctioned. There you go.
You're welcome.
You fucked around and give me a full title for it.
You're welcome. Here to help.
So, final thought on the movie.
I mean, this was a treat. Go into it blank like I did. Just find out, okay, Kurt Russell, John Carpenter. This is post The Thing. So, hold on.
They had worked
The Thing, and this is also, hold on. It's also post Escape from New York. So
yep, but before LA.
But before LA, it's also post Christine. So it's like, okay, John Carpenter, he has that sort of theme of either horror, suspense thriller, or like action. This does not follow any of that. It pretends to follow certain tropes and completely ignores them. It gives those tropes middle fingers. It just, I don't know how else to explain it. Everything is just, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. But I had a blast watching it.
I get the feeling out of all the shit that I've made you watch, this is probably the thing you had the most fun with.
You have to remind me, what other movies have you made me watch? This was more fun than Raising Arizona.
I think I made you watch Alien.
I already seen Alien before that episode.
Okay. What the hell out? What have we done episodes on? What the fuck have I made you watch?
Let me go to the old... I don't want to go to Spotify. Screw Spotify. I'll go to Podbean. So let's see. Raising Arizona. Shaun of the Dead. That was you. Oh, more fun than Shaun of the Dead.
Well, you had seen Shaun of the Dead before, hadn't you?
Yes. No, I had more fun with Shaun of the Dead. A lot of the. I think this might be the only movie that I had never. No, okay, I'm sorry. Hold on. The two movies that you made me watch that I've never seen before. This was more fun than Raising Arizona. But all the movies that you've picked so far for this show, this was number 2. Shaun of the Dead is still number 1. I absolutely love that movie.
Oh, yeah. I'm going by of the ones that you hadn't seen before.
Hadn't seen. This is more fun than Raising Arizona.
And honestly, I agree with that. Even though, like, to me, I'll lump the two of them together in my head because both movies that I watched a lot when I was a kid. Yeah, this is definitely a more fun ride than Raising Arizona.
I think the reason is Raising Arizona, Coen brothers. What we talked about then is like this was one of their first movies, and we could see the elements that they currently use to this day with all their other movies. With Big Trouble in Little China, I've heard of John Carpenter. I'm familiar with a lot of his movies, and I understand a lot of his themes that the genres that he uses. I was not expecting this to be so what the fuck.
So I think the final word that either of us can really have on the subject is, if you've never watched it, 1, nothing we have said makes any sense.
But here's the thing. I ended up going through the rest of his filmography, John Carpenter.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he did They Live.
Oh, yeah.
And once I saw that, I looked that up after I saw the movie, and I was just like, oh, so he is capable of doing what the fuck. And I've never seen They Live. The only thing I'm familiar with, Time to Kick Ass and Chew Bubble Gum, and I'm all out of gum. Even though
Rowdy Piper.
Even though I like to add my twist to it of Time to Kick Ass and Chew Bubble Gum, and I'm all out of ass.
The version I used to do to people that was inspired by that quote was I would pat myself down and search all my pockets and be like, nah, hold on, wait, no. Yeah, I'm fresh out of fucks, man. I used that line a lot when I was working at Walmart. Customers hated it.
So, believe it or not, I was more of a good boy in the retail business. Even though I wish I had your loose lips. Take that out of context.
The real fun one, when I worked in produce, was how often people would walk up and be like, hey, do you know how to pick out a good watermelon? And I've said this before and I'll say it again. I never lied to these people. When they asked me, I would tell them, no, but I'm really good at faking it. And they just kind of give me that same blank stare and blink at me a couple of times. And about 9 times out of 9, they would go, will you pick me out a watermelon? So at this point, I've told you, I'm really good at lying about picking a watermelon. You know this, and you were still asking me to do it. So this is consensual. And there's a technique. Here's what you do. You walk up, you pick up a watermelon, you make a big show about examining this watermelon. Look it over, thump it, smell it, whatever you want to do. And then reject that watermelon. Come over, grab another one, give it a very casual glance, and hand it to them. And here's the psychology. They thought that first one looked fine. They don't know what you caught that made that one a shitty watermelon, but that one looked fine, and you noticed something wrong. And this second one, you just give it after examining that first one for 2 minutes. Uh-huh. This one's a casual glance, and it has passed the test. There is something special about this melon. You can't see the difference, but that other guy did. Do you know how often I had people come back thanking me for having picked a watermelon for them? Informed me it was the best one they'd ever had and asked me to pick another.
You're good at faking it.
And when they did that, I would tell them, you realize that was all for show, right? Well, whatever you did at work, can you do it for me again? I do the same song and dance. I had regulars. They would hunt me down. If I wasn't working that day, I would come in the next day and be like, that asshole was in here wanting you to pick a watermelon out again, and they left without one because you weren't here.
Hey, man. You're good at picking melons.
So yeah, so if you ever have a scenario where someone asks you to pick something out and you don't know what the fuck you're doing, there's your technique. And the best part is I actually walked my buddy Keith from church through that. We were both in a grocery store. He's like, "Hey Dane, you've been working produce for a long time. Like, can you pick me out some good peaches?" And I told him, I was like, "No, but I'm really good at faking it. You want me to show you how to fake it?" And like, I did the whole thing and I narrated it as I was doing it to him and did that and handed it to him. And when we got back, like, he's eating the peach. He's like, "Man, this is a really good peach. You must really know what you're doing." I'm like, "Keith, did you listen to anything I said, man?"
Showmanship.
It's all in the showmanship.
It's all about the showmanship. James, owe me a Coke.
So I guess that's really all we have to say about Big Trouble in Little China. Go fucking watch it.
Yes. You're saying, like, wow, they just spoke for 2.5 hours about this movie. What did we really say about this movie? Absolutely fucking nothing. We could have been talking about... We could have been making everything up. So you know what? Go fucking watch it. And see how much of everything we said is true.
We should do that as a goof for one episode. Just pick a movie that everybody knows by heart and talk about something completely different, acting like it's that movie.
That, or we end up watching something like a Harvey, or who's the Roger Corman movie, like something really old and obtuse, and be like, okay, we know what this movie is about. Let's not talk about it. Let's make something up. No, I like your idea. About it. It's like, so today we're talking about Fargo. So Fargo is actually about a real estate.
Or for Jurassic Park, talk about Jurassic World.
I've never seen that, so I'm fine with Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, that fucking movie.
It's better than Lost World.
Yeah, but Lost World has the greatest jump cut in the history of cinema. When the little dinos eat the woman's daughter, and she walks up and she's screaming bloody murder, and the camera cuts to Jeff Goldblum in front of a palm tree poster yawning.
You're right. It's just like, oh, he watched the whole thing. And he's just like, yep, that happens when you land on a dinosaur island. Oh, he's in a subway tunnel. You're right. I love that jump.
Yep, greatest jump cut in cinema. I don't know what it's supposed to add to the movie. I don't think it adds anything. It's tonally inconsistent with the rest of the film, but the greatest single cut in the history of cinema. So I guess
speaking of Jurassic Park.
Yep, that kind of leaves what we are doing next time. So there is a drop of uncertainty. I'm still waiting to hear back, but the tentative plan is that next time we are going to be having a special guest host, and if he can make it, we are going to be talking about Spielberg's classic Jurassic Park.
I was kind of hoping you'd be like, we're going to be watching the Spielberg's classic, The Adventures of Tintin. Wait, what?
So, in the event that, we need to postpone the recording with our guest host that we have planned, very special, I don't want to ruin it for everybody, we'll go ahead and we'll be doing the postponed video game movie double feature. If not, that's going to be the second episode in April, but hopefully we'll be coming back and we'll be talking Jurassic Park next time.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Still waiting to hear back. It is tentatively scheduled. He said he's in, but I haven't got the confirmation to say 100% for certain, so I don't want to speak for him. So, I guess that covers all we've got for tonight. So if you've made it this far, one, thank you. You were a trooper. We love each and every one of you, all three of you who listen to this show every other week. And I've been Mr. Puzzles. He's been Grumpy Jeff. You've been our audience, and thank you for listening to this week's Steamy Media Dump. Jeff, do you have anything you want to leave these lovely listeners with?
Yes, I do. Remember, all in the reflexes.
Yeah, I can't top that. Oh, good night, Jeff. Our theme song is Pheonix Down by Nile The Nightmare. You can find a link to that track as well as his full discography in the show notes or by visiting nilethenightmare.bandcamp.com. Want to hang out with us and a bunch of other entertaining degenerates? Join us on Discord at bit.ly/TSMPDiscord, all caps. Enjoy the show, rate us where you're at, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Dude, so many times my wife looked at me and said, "What the fuck do you have me watching?"
There were a few times when I said, Dane, what the fuck am I watching? However, did she have fun?
She went to sleep in the middle of it, but that is like my wife's kryptonite is action scenes. Anytime, like the whole time we were dating and like early marriage, like I would want to watch a movie and she'd be like, all right, fine, I'll watch it with you. And if it was an action flick, as soon as the action started, she'd start nodding off and she'd go to sleep. Like pretty much every Marvel movie I ever showed her.
I can agree with her with that.
She liked Pitch Black, but Chronicles of Riddick and the third one that was just Riddick knocked her out.
Yeah.
The Matrix, Aliens, just anything that had action in it, she'd go to sleep. The first movie that was action heavy that she stayed awake the whole time was John Wick, and I'm pretty sure it's just she was emotionally invested when they killed the dog.
I'm trying to think what's the first movie. You see, we've watched movies together, but a lot of it she didn't understand, just because of the whole English thing, she didn't understand it. So we watched movies like Predator, Alien, and she basically just wasn't understanding what was going on. Well, she understood what was going on, but she didn't understand what everyone was saying. So that's why it's just one of those things of like, she watches her movies, I watch mine. Now, of course, there have been times in the past we would watch something together. So, more recent, like she watched The Day After Tomorrow. She enjoyed that. She thought there was some good effects. She enjoyed Twister.
The original or the new one?
Oh, the original.
Okay.
The good one.
The new one's not terrible.
I hear Twisters but Twister just has such fun. It's a lot of and it's also just like this is a science movie. We're using science in this. It's like you're kind of giving off some bad science, like the whole the first tornado when they're under the bridge is like you realize that's a dumb idea. But I guess given the situation, what choice did they have? But she loves horror movies. Like her absolute favorite is families moving into an abandoned house that's just haunted with. So like The Conjuring, The Haunting, stuff like that.
Has she watched Paranormal Activity yet?
That I don't think so, because she's like me. She hates found footage.
I'm really back and forth on found footage. When it's done good, I love it. But so much found footage is done shitty. Like
it's just. Go ahead.
The original Blair Witch, like the original one, they did that one right. It's a very slow burn, and it comes off more believable because shit don't really hit the fan. And my favorite part about that is you can watch that movie with the subtext of there is no witch. Because if they had a journal entries that they had supposedly made, and they had pasted up on the website that you could read beforehand. So there's a subtext that the girl and Heather and Josh, the dude who disappears first,
all right,
they were in a relationship and had broke up before. So you can watch the movie with the subtext that the two guys, which she didn't really know the other dude that well before they started doing the film project, that they lured her out in the woods to terrorize her for a couple of days in a row and then killed her and disappeared. And the movie still works because you never see anything explicitly supernatural through the entire movie.
No, the only thing that you see is the Blair Witch symbol.
Everything that you see can be explained by guys who are really dedicated at harassing and terrorizing her to make her last few days before they kill her a living hell. Blair Witch 2 which is garbage.
Oh, I've never seen it, but I have watched the Nostalgia Critic review for it, and
He was too nice.
I can understand why everyone's just like, "What the fuck?"
Like, the premise of, they go through all these things and then the footage shows something completely different happening from what they all collectively remember.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, that's a cool twist, it's an interesting thing, but they totally botched the fucking movie. And then you have the last one that came out, which was just called Blair Witch, which was they made up a younger brother for Heather, and like now he's going to go out and do the whole thing because he's convinced his sister is still out in the woods 20 fucking years later.
I believe it.
But that movie had one scene that actually made me feel very uncomfortable, but it is my claustrophobia acting up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a just very, very claustrophobic scene that happens like almost at the very end of the movie. But everything else, like, they completely kill the tension in a scene that I call the campground explode scene. Because like all this, everybody is sitting there like, did you hear something? And it's really, really quiet. And then there's a loud booming sound as every tent in the camp suddenly shoots straight up in the air, and everyone scatters like roaches when the lights come on. When that scene happened, I laughed out loud in the theater, and I could not take anything else in the movie serious. Until that, just the fact that it was hitting my one true phobia. Well, one of my two. Yeah, guys kissing is the other one. But it's not the gay thing, it's just beards on beards.
I could see that.
But it's like chewing tinfoil to me. But tight spaces freak me out, so that one scene at the very end of the movie scared me. But only in the sense of, oh, this is really tense, I wish they get this over with. It's like watching, it's kind of like how the body horror makes some people feel really uneasy. Yeah. Like, there are explicit examples that will make me feel uneasy, but as a general rule, body horror doesn't bother me. It's just gross.
It's well, two things. One, with the found footage. The reason I don't really care for found footage is because I get motion sickness, and I've actually never watched Blair Witch. I only just actually recently watched maybe 20 minutes of it before going to work, and it just happened to be the scene where they start seeing the Blair Witch symbol hanging around in the trees, like the numerous amounts of them. And it's just like, okay, so that they're holding the camera mostly steady. They're not, it's just slow turns, just looking around. So it's like, okay, they have a good idea what they're doing. Whereas we'll take a Cloverfield, for example. That movie, the camera jumps around so much where I actually am just like, okay, pause, or I'll switch channel just because I need a minute or something so my brain can collect itself.
I kind of enjoyed Cloverfield, but it was more the fact that, like, they were doing their found footage over top of a pre-existing tape, and the interactions that you get from time to time of the tape that they went over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that footage will seep in where they like hit stop or pause or something, and when they hit record again, it hit skip forward some before it kicked back in.
Yeah, like when they're at Coney Island or whatever that park is, right? Like the events right before.
So like that in and of itself, I thought that was interesting.
And I like it. It's just like, shit, I hit the pause button.
But the best of the Cloverfield movies was hands down 10 Cloverfield Lane.
That's the one with John Goodman, right?
Yeah.
That's why.
And like, I might petition that one for Spooktember because I fucking love that movie. The editing is so good in that movie.
Well, we already have a movie already on the docket for Spooktember.
We might actually end up having to do a weekly Spooktember event the way TSMP does their Spooktober.
Well, I'll have to think of a second movie then.
Because I get the feeling there's one movie that I know that we were both chomping at the bit because we wanted to make it our pick, and I think you said it first.
Well, I think that movie was what inspired Kurt Russell Month, because I had just watched it on a movie channel. It's like, dude, we have to talk about this in Spooktember. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, you know what? March is Kurt Russell's birth month. Do you want to do a Kurt Russell month?
Yeah, we totally knew that this was the month that he was born and planned everything around this.
It actually was. This is the one little bit of planning I did. It's just, I think it was January. It's just like, oh, hey, Kurt Russell was born in March. Want to do a Kurt Russell month?
I had no fucking idea, and if you mentioned it, it immediately went out of my head. I'm not even going to lie. I just wanted to do a Kurt Russell month because I fucking love Kurt Russell movies.
Well, I had just watched the one movie that's on the docket, and a little bit before that, I had just watched Overboard for the first time. It's like, man, what a charming, cute movie. I could see why he ended up with Goldie Hawn, because she's adorable as well.
Captain Ron's another fun one.
And I know I think you didn't really care for that more. I think Christmas Chronicle movies are enjoyable.
I have not watched them. My bigger problem is I just don't like Christmas movies. Even back when I still did Christmas, I didn't like Christmas movies, like Jingle All the Way.
But that was pretty much to watch. Would you be able to watch Kurt Russell as Santa Claus?
I mean, I watched Jack Black as Satan Claus, so.
Well, one of those movies is better. I forgot what my second point was. I wanted to talk about the found footage and then...
all the reasons that you haven't watched Paranormal Activity. You don't like found footage.
I don't like found footage. And it's mostly because of motion sickness. Because the cameras are way too jerky and it triggers my equilibrium. So,
Paranormal Activity is primarily Steadicam.
Well, I know. It's mostly like CCTV or just like house cameras. So it's...
No, they only have... in the original one, they only had the one camera set up. But he would like set it up on tripods and they would catch shit. So there are some handheld moments. Paranormal Activity 2 is the one where they've got like the actual home security system that catches most of the shit that happens.
I think the reason I haven't watched those movies is just because I don't care.
Well,
if you're gonna throw it out there, obviously yes, I will watch it for Spooktember, but I'm not gonna watch it just out of whim.
If you were going to watch a found footage movie, that is one of the three that I would say is worth giving a shot. There's another one that I've heard about, but I haven't watched myself. And I don't think it's actually a single film. I want to say it's like an anthology film.
Mm-hmm.
So I could be completely wrong, and I might be misremembering, but I think it's a found footage style VHS.
You're just thinking of The Ring. Well, this idea just popped into my head. If we make it this long, found footage February.
Oh, yeah. Because I know a couple of actually decent ones that would be worth doing.
Well, obviously the ones that immediately come to mind, I would watch Blair Witch, the Blair Witch Project. I would watch Cloverfield. Those I've seen those. Well, no, those are movies I'll watch. But you said, was it 10 Cloverfield or? I'd watch
10 Cloverfield Lane is not a found footage, though. It's a traditional film.
Well, then you'll probably just save that for Spooktember.
But it is a good one. Because the entire premise of the movie keeps you guessing. Like, you keep going back and forth. Is he crazy and nothing's real? Is he eccentric and everything's real? Is he crazy and everything's real? Is he eccentric and nothing's going on? Like, if you've not had the movie spoiled, actually making it to the ending and finding out for sure what's actually going on is just such a fucking finally now I know. And when me and my wife watched it, my wife, she was really into it the first half and started dipping. Mm-hmm. And then she kind of got back into it towards the tail end of it. I was into it the full length. And it is just a masterclass performance by John Goodman. He genuinely scared the director in one scene. Actually, he scared everybody on set. But, that included the director. Even the director was like, holy shit, dude.
Only other story I know of the director getting scared is Tim Burton was terrified of Christopher Walken in Batman Returns.
Dude, it has been so long since I've seen Batman Returns. I'd forgot Christopher Walken was even in that movie.
Sure, he plays the eccentric, evil corporate billionaire Max Schreck. Which, fun fact, he played Nosferatu, I believe, in the original Dracula, or like the Nosferatu movie in the 1930s. That actor's name was Max Schreck. Now I'm gonna need to double check just to make sure.
I thought you were saying that Christopher Walken was playing Nosferatu in the 30s movie. I was like, is he a fucking vampire? Because I've seen the pictures of like Nicolas Cage from the 1800s getting his daily dose of adrenochrome in.
That is not what I selected. Yeah. Actually, and it was a 1922 movie. The actor's name that played, I guess it plays the vampire, is Max Schreck. And that's the same name that Christopher Walken in Batman Returns.
So the only thing I remember about that was being really grossed out by Danny DeVito as the Penguin.
And that's why it was great.
Like, that is literally the only thing I remember about that movie. It's been so damn long since I watched it.
And also, Michelle Pfeiffer is very hot in that. And apparently all her whipping scenes, she did it herself. She got very good at using the whip.
She got good or came in good?
I think she trained and ended up excelling at it.
Out of curiosity, any actor currently active in Hollywood, who is the last one that you would want to have to fight in a fist fight?
The last one I would want to be in a fist fight.
And you can go with them in their prime or them right now.
That's a tough one. I'm trying to think. Who comes to mind for you?
Keanu Reeves.
But he's so gentle, from what I hear. He did pop into my mind, but then I immediately was like, wait a minute. I've heard nothing but wonderful stories about him.
Oh, and I'm not even saying, like, I think that they would want to fight me. Like, if there was a situation where I had to fight Keanu Reeves, I would not want to, because, like, the reason he does all of his own stunts and he's so good at it is he does the shit legit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all the firearm shit he does in John Wick. He knows guns. Like, good. He is a fully trained marksman. He is an awesome fucking shot. For The Matrix, he really did learn Kung Fu. But he did it the hard way.
Well, no. None of us have learned Kung Fu via digital download.
Yet, I mean, Elon's still working on those brain implants, man.
Hey, man. If he figures it out, it's just like, all right, Dane, I figured out these brain implants. Who do you want to be? Or what do you want to learn?
Oh, if I could master anything just instantly with a brain implant?
Yep.
That's an interesting one.
For my answer before, I think, did you ever watch The Accountant or a movie called Triple Frontier?
I don't think I have.
Because Ben Affleck in those movies, he gets like ripped. He's like 230 pounds. He learns like all these different kinds of moves, and he's also very deadly with weaponry. So it's like, I don't want to be in a fight with Ben Affleck, especially now when he's like has some issues in his personal life. It's like that man is kind of unhinged. I don't want him to kill me.
Yeah, I think I would fight The Rock before I fought Keanu Reeves, though. I would fight Chuck Norris before I fought Keanu Reeves.
Well, you've already lost the fight with Chuck Norris. You're actually scheduled to have a fight with him 24 years from now, and you've already lost.
Well, here's the thing. If you were Chuck Norris defines love by not wanting to kill. So, if you were alive, that means Chuck Norris loves you. So, I already know he loves me, okay, because he hasn't killed me yet.
Fair enough. Strong point.
Oh, I'm still trying to come back to that. What would I want downloaded straight into my brain?
Maybe, do we want to save this for an episode? Just like a quick, quick discussion episode, just in the future.
That could be, because like there are so many fun things we could do with just that one little question.
That's what I'm thinking. It's just like, do I want to do just one thing, or do we want to do like a list of 3? It's like I don't feel like watching anything for an episode or talking about anything. Like I said, we've got a lot of questions. I'm sure there's a few quizzes you want to make, and it's just like, you know what? We'll save that for like a potpourri episode or oops, all tangents.
Steal a card out of Tadpog's wheel box and do a draft.
There you go. Perfect. A blind draft.
Oh. So you want to start the episode proper? Because I got a hot take to hit you with.
Oh, yes. Okay.
All right. We'll do it Steam Machine style. We'll leave some dead air so that I can spot that. Because I'm going to start sticking like our random conversation at the end as the stinger. That's what I did last week. We had a 30-minute stinger.
All right. Well, if you want to wait 30 more seconds, at least on my recording.